Okie dokie. All right. Right then, where are we? Okay, cool. So today is I want to talk about the sort of psychology around nutrition. And what I kind of find is that this is the biggest barrier to success for anybody that is looking to, lose weight, get fit, get strong, whatever. I'm going to talk, go through a couple of slides and just explain the reasons around that. And I'm also going to give you some worksheets to do as well that you can try and help yourself get on track, essentially. So first of all, just a recap on the last couple of weeks. We've spoken about planning, and ultimately you've got to plan this stuff in. You can't just it doesn't just happen. You have to, put some times in your calendar to prep some meals or be organized around it or go shopping and all those things. You have to do that stuff. If you don't plan this stuff, then ultimately what's going to happen is you will never be successful, because if you're leaving things to chance, then it's never going to work. And if you, just literally pop into the shops and grabbing whatever's available, and on how you mood and how you feel emotionally, then you're not going to get much out of it at all. So you need to plan this stuff. Gone over it loads. Next thing we talk about is mindset. I'm really big on this stuff as well, because it's like the old adage: if you you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And those that haven't seen this model before, what I talk about is your performance at the top. This is your performance to do anything, whether it's work or life or obviously nutrition. And ultimately, you've got to have the right state of mind. If you're a really shallow state of mind, it doesn't matter what skills, knowledge, and experience that you have around nutrition and how to become healthier. Unless your mind is in it, then you're not ever going to perform very well. And ultimately, what happens is this little ladder on the side here: thoughts, emotions, actions, results. We all sort of gravitate and live in this emotional sort of world. Okay, we're emotional beings, and what happens is your emotions govern your actions, which govern your results. If you took time just to sit back for a second and think about the thoughts that's going on. So when I say thoughts, if you're like having a bad day, your actions might be to eat some junk food, and then your results are going to be not what they want them to be. Whereas if you're having a bad day and you recognize you're having a bad day, you can think about it and say, well, actually, I could eat this cake or chocolate or drink those 10 beers, but ultimately my results are this. So let's just think about this for a second. A bad day is going to pass. It'll be okay tomorrow. I'll be back on track. And that's what this ladder is. So if you're finding yourself struggling on an emotional level, kind of just take a second to think about it. We can absolutely control our emotions if we think about it properly. So we covered this last time as well. So this course, or this module today, is literally, I want you to understand how food affects your psychology, affects you psychologically. So you're able to be more aware and take control of your eating habits, because that's all it's about. It's about taking control of your eating habits. Let me have a look. I just want to make sure. Stop share for 1 sec. Click out there. That's right. Cool. Back into it. So why should we understand it? Well, if we understand why we eat what we eat, then it's going to be essential to anybody who wants to lead a healthier life. If you understand what drives you, then you're going to be good. You can actually change it. It's cool. So, oops, let's go back. Okay, cool. So ultimately, lots of studies have been done on this stuff, right? It's very, very difficult. And even me, with what I know, I can't 100% influence everybody to do what they need to do, even with the best intentions. So studies show that poor nutrition can impair not only our daily health and well-being, but also our longevity and long-term quality of life. And that makes sense, right? Poor nutrition ultimately affects our ability to cope with life and stresses, level of energy and ability to be active. If you're not eating well or eating healthy, then you're not going to have any energy. You have a high risk of ill health and disease, including excess weight, high blood pressure, heart disease, bad cholesterol, diabetes, bone disease, some cancers, tooth decay, mental illnesses, and a ton more if your diet is pants, right? So conversely, though, eating well can provide you with feelings of well-being, vitality, increased lifespan and quality of life, improved health, and increased capacity to cope with life, which is what we're all about, okay? So can you imagine, right? you know, if you're eating better and you're able to deal with these things a little bit better because you're more nourished and you're better, you know, better energized, imagine how that would feel for you. It'd be pretty amazing. Okay. And, you know, you can actually achieve that through your diet. It's pretty incredible. So this, model here is the first, and it's spelled right, it isn't spelled wrong, the first model of food choice. And you can Google this and do a bit more research if you like. But ultimately, this is where you are. Okay, this is you in the middle. Okay, this diamond here, diamond in the rough, and above here you've got. See if I can get this pointer up. This is pretty cool. All right, there we go. There we go. Look at that. So up here, these are the influences. Okay, so you got ideals. So this could be, you know, Instagram or people with six packs and everything. And this is coming into your sort of like your circle, your head, right? Personal factors, whether you feel you're not worthy enough or you don't like your body image or all these sorts of things. Then you've got resources, you've got the internet, you've got misinformation, you've got all sorts of stuff going on. Then you've got social network, and you go, you know, are your social friends big drinkers or big eaters or big smokers or whatever else? Okay, all this has an influence on you. And then food context. How do you, you know, what is it you eating for? Are you eating for comfort or are you eating for performance? You know, it's a difference. And then you got your personal system in here. And what this does, okay, this is your, you know, your value negotiation. This is where you take all this information in. You know, it's all about your quality of life. Could be money considerations. You can't afford to eat. You think you can't afford to eat healthy. You may be busy and you need convenience. You may need help managing your relationships, and you're not able to, you know, put your effort into your food and the quality. And what happens then? You got your health and nutrition down here, and then you got choice. And in between the nutrition and the choice you make are strategies. They're coping mechanisms. They're there for you to make better decisions based on sort of logic and based on you know, on life skills to deal with it. So this is what I kind of want you to be in. I want you to be able to, yes, this happens. We're in a lockdown right now. It's, you know, the world is closing. You know, but there's always something. There's always something. There's always a drama. There's always something going on that's going to affect your choice. And if you've got the right strategies in place and the right skills in place, then ultimately you're gonna be able to deal with this a lot better. So all we're doing, we're gonna just say, yeah, life is life. It is what it is. We're gonna come up with some skills to do it. So first of all, is this level one skills practice troubleshooting cheat sheet. So I'm going to do, I'm going to just come out of here and I'm going to find the actual thing I'm looking for. Is that one? This one here, okay? So I'm going to put a copy of this in the notes for you guys anyway. But ultimately, you know, this is a real good overview of skills that you need to have to be able to be successful with kind of anything, but nutrition in particular. So, you know, skill, plan, prioritize, prepare. You must plan this stuff in. You must make time. You must take a small action to move forward. You know, you don't have to think you're going to change the world immediately. These are skills built over time. Some eating behavioral skills. Eat slowly and mindfully. Recognize psychological hungers and fullness cues. You know, don't just eat and eat and eat because it's there. Eat because you're full or because you're hungry. And then normalize your routinize your eating habits. So if what you're doing now, I don't know, you know, you're not able, you just eat ad hoc, then make planning and prep the normality. And once you do that thing, it becomes normal and it's no longer an effort. You know, another skill, match energy intake to needs and goals. So monitor and adjust your energy balance. Just because you've got to, maybe say you've got a target of 2,000 calories a day, doesn't mean you have to hit there. You know, if you don't want to, if you don't feel like eating it or you're full, then just don't eat anymore. But ultimately, if you're highly active and you're hungry, then you got to eat and monitor your goals. So if you find yourself eating more, you regulate it. Think about what you're doing and don't just smash it like. The next one is choosing higher quality foods more often. So this goes back to one of the first sessions we had, where if you buy it, you're going to eat it. So, you know, first of all, eliminate bad food in your shopping trolley. You know, and opt for better versions of that stuff. And if you do that more often, you're going to get more better results as you go. So eat less processed food, add more whole minimally processed foods, experiment, you know, upgrade stuff, explore it. It's fine. You can do all these things, right? Then we got other skills. Eat lean protein with at most meals. I always say this is because it's a big thing for weight loss. It's good for repair, protein there to repair your muscles, help you feel fuller, speeds your metabolism up. Eat fruits and vegetables all the time, okay? Include slow digesting, high fiber carbohydrates are appropriate. I'm talking beans, talking about the complex carbohydrates. Choosing healthy fats. You should absolutely have fats in your diet. Lots of water, you know, hydrate better. Supplement with nutrients as needed. So if you think you need a, I don't know, a vitamin tablet, then by all means do it, you know? And you shall be good to go. So what are the skills? Obviously, you know, if you're exercising, that's the easy part. Generally, you can get to the gym. It's fairly straightforward. Rest and recover. So this is a big one. So for me, like I was training pretty hard for a long, long time. And for the last year, I basically cut my training in half. I just did half what I usually did. I was tired. I was probably finding, you know, losing a bit of motivation in the gym. Over the last 12 months, I've trained 3-4 times a week max. And it's been amazing. I've put about 4 kilos on probably, but it's all been muscle, believe it or not. I was able to recover better. I've got amazingly stronger in the last 12 months. And it's because I took note of my rest and recovery, because I wasn't able to do it before. Now I am, and I feel good, you know. Next thing, create a supportive environment. That's what, you know, we're about at Growing Younger. We want you guys to have a supportive environment. That's why I'm in the groups. That's why I'm doing these nutrition coaching sessions, because when you're with these people that are doing the same thing you are, you actually, you know, feed off them as well, and you can be successful. Another skill, regulate emotions without food and eating. So if you are somebody that tends to, a bit like me as well, emotionally eat a little bit, then try and, you know, use something else as a blanket instead of food. And if, you know, I identify what physical sensations and emotions are and try and change them and separate urges from your behaviors, okay? So then you got this bottom bit, you got a big flow chart here. Look for what's already working. Now we do this a lot with a lot of people, is that you already eat every single day anyway. So what can we do to make it better? You know, you're already eating stuff. So if you eat in vegetables in the evening every day, then we'll just add some in for lunch, you know? And you then have increased your fiber content and your nutrient content. And you know, you can go through this stuff on you'll know what is working, what you do every day and what you don't, okay? But ultimately, if you've got any questions, ask me and I can help you through it. So I'm going to put this, copy this in the group when we're done. So where are we? Back to presenting. All right, cool. So once the screen loads up. All right, so that's something I want you to look at after this, okay, because it's important to do. Now we're looking at personal factors. Now, personal factors, so physiology, for example, you know, your perception of taste and smell, genetics and flavor of food choices. Well, what's really interesting is that if you've got a sweet tooth or a savory tooth, it's a learned behavior. It's something that happened way back when you were younger, or something you've learned as you got older, and you have learned to like those types of foods, and you can unlearn it. And for me, I used to have 3 sugars in my teas and coffees every single day in my 20s. I have 0 sugar now. I used to have milk all the time in my teas and coffees. I don't have milk in my coffee anymore. It's because it was all learned things, and you can unlearn these things as well. And I enjoy tea with no sugar now. I enjoy coffee with no milk now, and it's things that you move along, right? Emotional states such as our mood, fears, and phobias. So, like, we go back to that triangle that we've just spoken about. You know, you need to recognize these things, and if you find you're stress eating, then you've got to come up with a strategy to do that. And psychological factors such as our self-concept or who we believe we are. So this is a really big one, okay? If you believe that you are a person who is overweight and you're a failed dieter, and that doesn't matter what you've done in the past, you've failed at, then you believe that's the truth, okay? Now, for me, I was always overweight, and I believed I was always going to be overweight. I was no way I'd ever believe I'd get fit and have a 6-pack and all those things I've achieved over the last 8 years, because I changed who I thought I was. I actually thought, well, there's no reason that I can't do what I want to do. It just needs some practice, and you got to grow into the person you want to be. And it's something that's so overlooked. Okay, if you think that you're not that kind of person, or if you think that you're not worthy to achieve those things, you know, even if it's not obvious to start with, you're not going to achieve them. But if you start to change your mindset and you're thinking, well, there's nothing different from you than there is to somebody else that's getting fantastic results. They're just doing different things to you, and they believe in different things to you. And this is a big thing as you're going forward this journey. All right. The next thing I'm going to go is the 4 crazy question worksheets. All right. I'm going to have this. And what I want you to do, I want you to put this into perspective a little bit. I want you to say to yourself, what is good about not changing? So if you decided, hey, look, it is what it is. What's good about it? So it means you can eat chocolate as much as you want, drink as much as you want, sleep as much as you want. You can stay on the couch instead of going to the gym as much as you want. And there's some of the benefits of not, doing anything. But what's bad about changing? Well, so if you change, what might you have to give up to lose? Well, you may have to give up some lie-ins in the morning to go to the gym. You may have to spend 45 minutes to an hour on the weekend, sacrificing TV time to create some meals and some menus. And they're the bad things about changing. But what might be the good thing about changing? Well, you may have a better mood. You may have more energy. You may lose weight. You may feel more confident in yourself. You may feel more loved by your partner. All those things are good about changing. But what might be bad about not changing? Well, 10 years from now, you're going to be exactly the same position. You may end up with lifestyle disease. You may end up sicker. You may end up, in health, in hospital. You may have a heart attack. Who knows? And I want you to go through this and think about it. I want you to really think about it. And what you'll find is that the good outweighs the bad by an absolute mile. All right. So that's going to be your homework, basically. Those two worksheets to go through. Okay. And like I said, in the group, I'm here to help you guys as well. So don't be a stranger. Check it in there, and we'll have a look. Next one we got. So I don't know if I can move this screen. Anyway, so there's a lot of things, some external factors that actually influence the way we eat, and it's very, very interesting once you go into it. So dim, soft lighting seems to get us eating for longer. So if you go for a nice meal or something, and it's dim, and you have a bit of music on, you'll end up eating a bit more. You pick and you chat, and it's just a nice environment to eat more, right? Social approval and peer pressure. So this is a big one. So like when I was, obviously even now to a little degree, my friends would say, have another beer. When I stopped drinking, I got loads of peer pressure. I was called all sorts of names, and whether it's in jest or whatever else, but it was really hard. And for my circle of friends at the time, it was socially unapproved, that the route I was going on. And I actually lost some friends by doing it, which is okay because they obviously weren't proper friends if that's the case. Peer pressure is a big one. Go on, have another one. You'll be all right. You can start on Monday, and that's a big thing to try and stop happening. So even nice aromas from food, even if you're not conscious. And honestly, if you watch TV in the evening and they got some Burger King melt thing on, it's quite hard not to feel hungry after watching them. Okay, or somebody's cooking, doing some bacon. Like my wife does loads of bacon, and I might not fancy anything at the moment, but as soon as she starts cooking cookies or cake, guess what? I want a piece of it, and they're all hard things to look at. Soft music, as I said, makes you eat more slowly, have longer meals, eat and drink more. And all these things, you need to be aware of when you're trying to eat better, basically. So, again, music can create positive feelings that encourage us to linger, but can also alter our perception of just how long we've been eating for. So you've got no idea. You just so like this is in the shopping. If you go to a supermarket, they'll have music playing, and you may just be, the music is there. It's all designed. You might pick up food you wouldn't generally go in there for, and these are all big things. So even like utensils. So I used to when I used to cook, I used to grab the biggest plate and put loads of food on it, and big massive spoons. But now, just for an example, I eat my oats in the morning with a small teaspoon because it takes me twice as many sort of bites and scoops to eat it, and it makes a difference, and my meal lasts longer. Okay, all those things. And what the other thing as well is that an empty plate can signal to many of us to stop eating. So have someone continually add to your plate if you're out, or a family dinner or something. They keep chucking food on there. You keep eating more and more and more. All right. So what can you do about it? Well, I've gone over a couple of things right here. Use smaller plates for your meals. That's always a big one. So a good idea for me is that if I have a span on my hand, that the plate is no bigger than that, and I can fill that up with food and in the proportions that I always talk about, and it's good to go. Serve food with small utensils. I said, shop from a list. So this is a big one. If you go shopping, have a list. Don't deviate from the list. Do not impulse buy in the supermarket, because that's ultimately where you're going to fall. If you buy it, you will eat it 100%. All right. So don't do that. And online shopping in a minute is brilliant. Just order it online. Have a list. I'll get your staples, get your Whole Foods in. Jobs are good. Place treats at the back of the fridge or cupboard. Oof, if you know they're there, you're gonna eat them, right? If it was me, I'd be tempted to just not buy them in the first place. That's probably the big thing. But if you must buy them, do that. Avoid buffet restaurants, easy at the moment. But if some people like going out for those meals, then absolutely. If you go on a buffet, be smart about it. Eat a couple of dishes. Avoid the mounds of food. Avoid the low. So avoid like second and third courses. And when you stack your plate, have it nice and thin. Don't have it piled high, right? The other thing as well is don't let weight stuff clear your table. This is a big one as well. If they clear your table, you're a clean plate, you go up and get some more. And leave remnants of food such as bones in your plate to remind you how much you've eaten. So, you get a bit of an idea of what's going on. The other thing as well, start eating last. Make everyone go up on the table first, then you get up last, and then you'll enjoy the conversation, your surroundings, and you enjoy your food a bit more. Leave a small portion of your food on the plate to avoid your host offering you more, and consider how much you'll eat before you begin. So if you go in there and say, right, I'm going to limit myself to one plate and one dessert, then make that choice with yourself and just do that, okay? And obviously tracking your food is what I recommend anyway. So you need to get to know yourself. You got to understand what makes you tick, all right? Unless you think about it, you probably got no idea. So this is how we learn, okay? This is anything. You classical conditioning. You get told all the time, carbs make you fat. They don't make you fat, but you believe it because so many people say it. And I can go into that in a bit more detail if you want to, but ultimately it doesn't. They don't make you fat. The process is called what's it called? De novo lipogenesis, which means that it's a conversion of carbs to fat. It's such a hard process, such a huge thing for your body to do. It doesn't like to do it. And providing your calories and protein are right, it doesn't happen. It just gets burned. It just gets burned off as energy, which is quite interesting. Instrumental conditioning, reinforcement. Do it to our kids all the time. Have an ice cream, you've been good. That's been happening to you since you were not even talking. You have a sweet treat or a treat of food when you've been good. And we do it as adults. On Friday night, we sit on the couch. I've been good. I'll have a glass of wine. I've been good. I'll have some ice cream. I've been good. I can have that chocolate. It's absolute nonsense. Dog, don't treat yourself like a dog. You don't get treats for being good, all right? This is instrumental conditioning. You've been conditioned to do that. And when someone tells you you can't do it, it's quite hard to let go of. But ultimately, it's a thought process. You don't need it. Just because you could treat yourself to something else instead. It's whatever it is for you, okay? Social learning, theory, imitation. So you might try and follow the same diet as your friend did. Not quite suitable to you. Didn't get on with it. Didn't work. A lot of people who go to the gym, they follow bodybuilding programs because they're in abundance all over the internet. But it might not be for you. I personally myself can't do some bodybuilding programs because I got a couple of injuries. I can't do handstand press ups, even though I'd like to do them. All these sorts of things because I got a sore shoulder, and it doesn't work for me. So I need my own thing. All right. And then the other thing is you coached by somebody, and this is a coaching session or an information session, and you actually learn by taking action and doing. So you might try that bodybuilding workout, and you might not be for you. I understand. I've tried keto. You might try keto diet, but it might not be for you because you like your carbs too much. Like me, I like my carbs too much. I can't go keto. But the only way I know of that is because I tried it and I gave it a go. But my goal didn't change. My goal was still my goal, and I just tried a different tool to get me there. And if as soon as it didn't work, I'll find another tool that'll get me there, and I'll try that as well. And it's all about learning and finding what's best for you. Food and emotions. So, food and emotions. Mood is a psychological state that we experience that lasts for a couple of minutes. I might not be in the mood to take the dog for a walk, but I'll be fine in 5 minutes. I'll do it. Okay. It involves energy, attention, and pleasure, as opposed to an emotion. An emotion is said to be less specific; they're less intense, and tend to be triggered by less specific events or stimuli. So you might get a bit grumpy for 5 minutes, emotionally, but it passes. But mood kind of, can last a bit longer. Okay, and in those 3 to 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a poor mood, that's where you make your bad decisions. Okay, so. I'll move this out of the way. Hopefully you can't see that. Just me. So a study of get my pointer. A study of 1,300 people are conducted by the Australian Psychological Society. 98% of their participants who had attempted to change their diet reported some success. 22 reported that their change lasted less than a few weeks or few months. A further 26% of the subjects were able to maintain their changed behavior for more than 6 months. So just, 26%. It's not many. But only 12% who amended their eating habits less than 6 months ago were still maintaining new behavior. So that's incredible. That's a huge failure rate. Okay. Now I think, and I don't know if it's true or not, it's down to your decisions. It's down to your goals, why you want to do it in the first place. And if you look in the nutrition blueprint, I'm going to please jump out of this. Okay, in the nutrition blueprint, which you've all got access to, building a mindset to succeed is what you need to be looking at. Okay, hopefully we'll go into it. And then it talked about starting with your why. Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to go in and do this thing in the first place? And if you haven't been through this yet, do it, because it's going to make a whole lot of difference for you. And once you understand your why, you're able to make better decisions, okay, which is what it's all about. Because if you haven't set the right goals and you haven't got the right reason, then you're not going to be successful long term. And I've talked about this before. For me, it was a never to be fat again. Okay, once I made that decision, it was easy. Everything I make is like a filter. Everything I eat needs to align with that goal to never be fat again. Okay, and so we have a lot of people in the Growing Younger program who have lifestyle diseases, blood pressure, cholesterol, all those things. They've made a decision that they're going to do healthy, and the ones that do really well are absolutely certain that their health and their health is dictated by fitness and nutrition, and the other ones do amazingly well. And if you don't quite believe it, or you've got self-limiting beliefs like we just talked about, then you're not going to be successful either. But if you can break it down why you want to achieve what you want to achieve and put that somewhere to remind you every single day, you will be far more successful. Now, it's all about the conversations you have with yourself. You must change your vocabulary. I might say to somebody like, can you do this? And I go, I haven't got time. I can't. I got no time. So change your conversation. How can I find time for that? How can I have a strategy to eat less? How can I add resistance training? How can I work on an injury? If you do these things, if you speak to yourself in this way, you become a problem solver. All right. And when you become a problem solver, you find your own solutions to these problems. If you say I can't, then it's a definitive bang done. And as I say, whether you think you're right or you're wrong, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Because if you say I can't and you believe you can't, then you're right. You're absolutely right. But if you believe you can, it might be a bit harder, but you believe you can and you will. All right. So that's ultimately what it is. Change your vocabulary, change the conversation you have with yourself. Okay, cool. Another study, right? Which is pretty interesting. Overweight and obese people, really interesting. Okay. They showed lower coping strategies in order to achieve their health goals in the face of stress. So if they get stressed out, they can't actually deal with it. Okay. The first thing to go is in nutrition. They back into their food again. They also demonstrated a more negative emotions during their attempts to change. So their conversations back here is, this is too hard. I'm sacrificing my ice creams. I'm sacrificing my time. And it's all negative self-talk, right? And they will ultimately prefer to be being unhappy and overweight than they are to taking some action not to be. So they reported the lowest ratings of self-esteem when changing their behaviors. Their self-esteem rock bottoms when they're trying to make a change because it's so difficult for them, because of the conversation they have. And what they found is, interestingly, is that the study also looked at the importance of physical activity. While obese individuals reported the highest level of health risk at not changing their current eating behaviors, it was a normal weight group that perceived the greatest health risk from not changing their physical activities and behaviors, and the obese group to be the lowest, which is really, really interesting. All right. I guess if you're obese and overweight, there's a lot of it is an emotional type thing, just like any addiction, I suppose, if you can call it an addiction. You know it, but you just maybe don't want to believe it. Okay. So motivation and control. Again, we've spoken about this before in another group, but there are many factors that act as driving forces behind our behavior. And your motivation is affected by our needs, expectations, goals, personality, and life experiences, right? Now, there are three main elements of motivation: intensity, direction, and persistence. When you go on one of these journeys like this, you must have a high effort given to every task. You must be intense. You can't just pretend to give it a go here and there and everywhere, okay? And you got to kind of become a little bit obsessed with your health now. You got to be a little bit obsessed with meal prep, and a little bit obsessed with tracking your meals, a little bit obsessed with the gym. And once that happens, that obsession turns into, it forces you to move forward, and it forces you to become more habitual. And once you become habitual, his motivation declines, and it's just something that you do now. So you must have, direction. You must have an ultimate goal. You can't just be, I want to lose 5 kilos for my my holiday. It needs to be more than that. It needs to be deeper. It needs to be deeper emotional goals, and then you can direct it forward. And ultimately, as well, the other thing on direction is that you just pick one thing at a time. Okay, go hard on one thing and make that one thing stick. And if you did one a month for the next 12 months, you'd have changed 12 things in your life, which is amazing. Okay, if you do that, you change your life 100%. If you just work on one thing a month, hit it hard, hit it intense and focus, and you will ultimately get forward as you go. And persistence. How long can the effort be sustained? So this goes back to picking something that you can do. If you pick something that's too hard that you can't do every day, you're not going to be able to do it. So pick the easiest domino that you can find, the easiest thing, and just crack into it. And what will happen is over time, you will be able to you can take on bigger tasks, so that once you knock down the easy ones and you get some confidence and you get some momentum, then you can pick a bigger task and a bigger task and a bigger task. And all of a sudden you can sustain more and more and more. So it's built up on each other. Okay. That's the idea. Now you've got something called locus of control. Control the controllables, don't sweat the small stuff type mentality. All right. So the locus of control is just about what controls you essentially. And it's a Rotter's locus of control theory suggests that we can attribute outcomes of success and failure in 2 ways. Internally, we believe that our own behaviors influence our outcomes. Brilliant place to be. Or you can believe that outcomes are attributed to outside factors, luck, time, other people get it, whatever else, the coronavirus, the time, family, whatever. If you start believing in yourself, state of mind, like I spoke about right back at the beginning, you will always be successful because you have the confidence in yourself to move forward. If you always blame other things for your failure, you'll never be successful because you can't control those other things, but you can control what you eat, if you move, and what you buy and everything else. Okay, you can control that. And if you can't, then maybe try and start controlling those things. To do, all right? Cool, that's it. So action step. I want you to fill out the 4 crazy question worksheet. Okay, you must go through it. Logically go through it. What's good, what's bad about staying the same and changing, and then choose a skill to work on that level skills thing, and ultimately you will be fine. Okay, if you pick something, as I said, about pick the one thing that you can knock over and do consistently over time for a month, and then move on to the next thing and the next thing. And in 12 months, if you do change 12 things, even if you change 6 things, if you say you took one thing and worked on it for 2 months, you'd have a life-changing kind of effect on it. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. Where are we? There you go. This one here. Can't get back to it now. Stop share. There you go. Yeah, that was it. Good stuff. Brilliant. So Penny, thanks for coming along. Always good to see you. And guys, like I said, it's going to be recorded. So like I said, you can access this wherever. So that's it from me. If you do have any questions about this video, if you watch it after the fact, then pop them in the group and I'll do my best to answer them. But that's it from me, guys. Take care and I shall see you later.